You found the WMIX Saturday Sports Show on AM 940 and WMIXSports.com. Cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. The Saturday Sports Show has been recognized by the Illinois Broadcasters Association as one of the top radio programs in the state. That means the very best mix of local sports content is right here. From the powerhouse on Broadway, the Saturday Sports Show starts now.
Good morning. So glad to have you with us. Saturday Sports Show today, Monday. How about Saturday, May 11th? Not quite a Monday. It's the Saturday Sports Show for a reason. Wow. Brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
And, of course, so glad to have you with us. Chris Hugo with Mike Richardson in studio. Danny Zerwinski is on assignment today. Busy Saturday in the world of high school sports, at least. Midland Trail Conference Tournament will wrap up today. Woodlawn will take on Noble at Woodlawn at the Chapman Sports Complex, as I understand it, at noon. And then they will play the championship game. The winner of that game between Woodlawn and West Richland will play Waltonville after that game at Chapman for the Midland Trail Conference Tournament. So that's a bit of rain information for you dating back to yesterday. Of course, the Lady Cardinals softball team was on their way to Noble, about halfway there whenever they got the notice of cancellation. They had to move the game between Waltonville, Sesterville, and Wayne City to Wayne City. Of course, Waltonville, Sesterville took that victory 7-3, so they will play in the championship against the winner of the other semifinal. Cloudy day out there today. Don't expect much precipitation in the forecast. About 54 degrees in Mount Vernon right now, 9 minutes past your 8 o'clock hour here on your Saturday Sports Show. But we have plenty to talk about. Of course, we'll talk Mount Vernon Rams baseball with Tim Holloway. A rare loss last night for the Rams on the road at Mater Dei, 4-0. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about something a little bit more special, and that's 4 straight South 7 Conference championships for Tim Holloway's Mount Vernon Rams baseball team, who's still looking for win number 25 after yesterday's loss, but they are 24-6-1. They finished the South 7 Conference season with an 8-1-1 mark. So an impressive season thus far for Tim Holloway's Mount Vernon Rams. We'll talk with Lance Bold about Lady Rams softball. They have rolled off 3 straight victories, of course, over Cahokia, Benton, and Althoff, and are nearing the 500 mark in the South 7 Conference as they will have another conference game. It's a makeup variety on Thursdays. They will take on the Centralia Annies on the road, but of course we'll run down their schedule for next week as the Lady Rams are set. They have games on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but as is the case in spring, we'll talk with Lance Bolt about that, see if the schedule remains the same heading into the final week of the regular season. We'll also talk about seedings and whatnot with both Tim Holloway and Lance Bolt. Another cat joining us today will be Jeff Harrison, head coach of Lady Rams Soccer. His team having a pretty good year. Of course, they'll roll into postseason play next week as their regional is upon us, but Lady Rams Soccer is now 11-7-1 on the year. They actually beat Centralia 1-0 on Thursday on the road in what was basically horrible weather conditions as they had a couple of delays. We will also talk with Shane Garner, of course. Many of you remember him. Shane, of course, class of 2002, 4-time All-Conference at Sesterville. Now he takes over at his alma mater as head basketball coach. We'll welcome Shane to the head coaching ranks. We'll talk with him. We'll also get his thoughts on maybe back in 2004 when he was walking on at Southern to play men's college baseball down there after a two-sport athlete at Wren Lake, maybe if he ever thought that is where his career would head. Of course, he's also a fifth-grade teacher at SV Grade School. We'll talk with Michael Blakemore about the upcoming 3-on-3 Gus Macker tournament, of course, coming to the King City June 7th through the 9th. The Max Hoopster 3-on-3 tournament, of course, will be at Times Square Mall. We'll talk with Mike Blakemore about that. Jared Shaner will stop by Mount Vernon Rams football. Why, you ask? Well, the IHSA is at it again. This time it's a heat acclimatization. How about that? You're not acclimating yourself to the heat, but it is a climatization. We'll talk about that policy with Coach Shaner, get his thoughts on that here on the Saturday Sports Show as well. And it's an interesting policy because what it does is it limits kids how long they can be out in the heat and limits your practice time as you get to your contact days. And so really what kind of stinks about it is that some coaches are for it, some coaches are against it, depending upon who you talk to. Some concerned about what happens in an instance possibly where maybe a kid didn't play tackle football in junior high or didn't have that type of program, comes in, needs to be taught the art of tackling. And there's some fear there that kids are going to get hurt even worse because this is mainly just a concern about the heat and not putting on the helmet or pads too soon or wearing full pads. This is what the concern is. And so trying to limit that and limit head injuries, things of that nature, but maybe not thinking about some of the other injuries that could occur, maybe not by having the art of tackling down.
The problem when anytime you mandate things like that, the issue I always have as a coach is the fact that, okay, I totally get it. I totally understand it, and it's always for the safety of the kids. That's the number one thing. But, in the time frame, what happens if you have a couple of weeks of cool weather? I mean, there's always so many intangibles in here. And like you said, that was the first thing I was thinking about. When you got grade school kids coming into your program who might have played some flag football and maybe not have learned the true techniques of football and the safety issues that, they're implementing not only at the high school level now, but all the way to the professional ranks. I mean, they're reinventing how people tackle now in the NFL. I mean, they just don't want people leading with their helmets. Even now with the running back situations, it'll be very interesting come the NFL season how that's going to be called. But I just hate the mandation of things that, are weather-related when you can't control the weather to begin with.
Well, and it kind of came down. We'll get to Tim Holloway, Rams baseball, here in just a moment on Saturday Sports Show as we near the 8:15 mark. But it came down to a fact that when I saw that a decision had been made on an IHSA football policy number 13, every year the IHSA with football and other sports releases policies and possible changes that could be coming based on recommendations and things of that nature voted on by the board. And I'd already forgotten the numbers. I thought this was maybe the districting thing coming down or maybe the ruling on conferences and what to do there coming down. But then when I saw it was heat acclimatization, it's like, oh, here we go. So I have my thoughts on it. I believe, and we'll talk with Jared Shaner about this, of course, later on in the 9 o'clock hour. I have my thoughts in that you have to prepare kids to be tough. At the same time, you have to look out for their safety. So there's got to be somewhere in the middle where this could benefit everybody, from the kids' well-being to making sure that they don't get hurt in other ways. And this will probably be, as we go, of course, throughout the summer, trying to find local things to talk about. Another topic that we'll touch on probably with some more guests as we head into the summer months. We actually need to take a quick break here on the Saturday Sports. We'll talk with Rams baseball coach Tim Holloway when we come back. Brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, that's what healthcare should be.
We're back after these.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend that time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, the entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician, physician assistant, or nurse practitioner within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com/faster to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
The 2013 Dodge Avenger has no interest in blending in, and neither should you. Hi, Roy Schmidt Dodge dealer at King City Chrysler in Mount Vernon. Stand out in the all-new Avenger. From its crosshair grille to ring-of-fire tail lamps, the Dodge Avenger takes an aggressive stance that's impossible to ignore. It's also impossible to ignore $3,000 in customer cash or 0% financing for 72 months. But it is what's inside that really counts. And with premium materials and soft-touch surfaces, the interior of the 2013 Avenger gets you there more comfortably than ever. Plus, those incentives leave your wallet a little more comfortable as well. See our selection online at KingCityChrysler.com or visit with one of our associates at King City Chrysler Center, 1603 Broadway in Mount Vernon, Illinois, and find us on Facebook.
Hi, this is Joe David Cummins. You did it. It's graduation day and you've got that feeling beyond compare. From kindergarten to graduation, your day-to-day efforts have been your first long-term investment. Community First Bank extends congratulations along with a promise. In the coming year, we will increase our community scholarship dollars to encourage graduation goals across Jefferson County and further invest in our community. Like us on Facebook to learn more. Community First Bank, welcome back to Personal Banking, member FDIC.
And we welcome you back to the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXSports.com. Chris Hugo with Mike Richardson in studio for you today. Danny Zerwinski is on assignment. Brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
You bet it is. Of course, we're proud to welcome to the program. He is the head coach of the South 7 Conference four-time consecutively South 7 Conference champion Mount Vernon Rams baseball team, Tim Holloway. Coach, good morning.
Morning, Chris.
You know what? Another South 7 title in the books. Of course, you beat Centralia on Tuesday to clinch that 8-1-1 to finish it up. And I think you have to be proud of your kids and your program at this point for winning 4 straight conference titles. I know you can't be satisfied with that, but that's a nice benchmark to achieve during the regular season.
Well, you're right about not being satisfied. You know, it was another good year in the conference. Our guys played well during the conference and played well all season, really. but it's not an easy thing to do. You know, everybody's put a target on you, and people are expecting somebody to knock you off, or at least hoping they're going to knock you off. So I was proud of our guys. It takes a lot of focus to play at that high level every day over that period of time.
Well, and of course, a big win over Centralia this week on the road at Centralia and Mater Dei before heading on the road a few more times next week before closing out the regular season at home. But you go to Centralia, you go to Spray Field, get a nice 6-2 victory. Centralia kind of edged close, 3-2 after 4 innings. Rams got 3 runs in the top of the 6th. And all around, Jake Pike had a day, I believe, 5 runs batted in. Brock Fulkerson on the hill had another masterful performance. And really, from defense to offense to pitching, was just a solid effort all around on the road in Centralia.
Yes, it was a good day. You know, we had some clutch hitting there with Jake, and Hayden Panetsky drilled one off the wall, got us another important run there late. But Jake did a good job of hitting again with 2 outs. We've had a lot of good 2-out RBIs this year, and that's been a point of emphasis. The guys have really come through, and anytime you go on the road, it's not going to be easy, especially trying to finish the deal. So it was a great win.
Well, and a great win indeed. And, of course, with the Orphans, South Pacific Conference title was on the line. You clinched that 8-1-1. Of course, that meant you did not have to make that long trip back to Althoff just to play 2 innings. I know that a tie is never good, but would you rather have the tie instead of having to go over there and maybe waste some pitching for just 2 innings of baseball?
No, our guys wanted to play.
Okay.
And, I'm happy they did want to play. We would have loved to finish the game. No one wants a tie. But that's just the way it worked out. But, right now our guys want to play, and I can't blame them.
Well, and I can't either. Of course, a tie, as they say, is like kissing your sister at times. But so you go from Centralia, from the happiness of winning that South Pacific Conference title outright, another road game yesterday at Mater Dei, and for whatever reason, whether it was just a situation, whether it was just some bounces didn't go the right way, a wet outfield, you name it, it just seemed like from the get-go things were kind of against the Rams last night, and a 4-0 loss, just the second shutout of the season, snaps a 14-game unbeaten streak since the loss at Carbondale. But all in all, was it maybe a wake-up call for Rams baseball?
I don't think so. I think it was just a tough loss. It's every now and again the game's going to go that way. We've had a couple this year. DuQuoin game was very similar. I thought it was a lot like that, except the DuQuoin game we had a lot more hard outs. But we did strike out 4 times, which is not a ton. It's a little more than we want to, but 17 outs are out there that they make plays on. So it was a game that was just trending in that manner. It was 1-0 in the 5th, and we just could not get anything going. They kept making plays, and it makes it frustrating when that happens. But this team's been really good taking advantage of opportunities, and Breeze did a good job of not giving us many freebies yesterday, not many walks, errors. They didn't make a mistake. They made the plays, and they made us beat them. So obviously we didn't. We couldn't get it going, and that's how the game went.
Well, and an ever-scored effort out there on the mound for Mater Dei, and the Knights relied on his repertoire and just had a decent fastball going yesterday. It also looked like he was able to work some of those junk pitches across the plate and just kind of kept the Rams hitting off guard. But whenever you finally were able to get a good bat on the ball, it really seemed like Gebke, their second baseman, was just able to find some nice range and make a good play over to first base. And all in all, offensively, it just seemed like it wasn't going to be there because the ball was bouncing the right way for Mater Dei.
Right. It was a good game on their part. It was senior day. They played with a lot of enthusiasm, and they deserve a lot of credit. Their kid on the mound didn't have quite the stuff that we've seen, but just so it goes to show you, if you throw strikes, get several pitches over, and your defense is solid, you can win a game, and I thought they did a nice job.
Of course, all in all, I didn't think Tyler Ellis had that bad of a day out there on the hill, just some bounces defensively that didn't go the right way, maybe whether it was a hit into the gap in a wet outfield or things of that nature. But another thing I want to talk about is the defense up the middle yesterday. 2 double plays turned, of course, by Matthew Williams and Hayden Panetsky, and not only did the team, I thought, had a pretty good defensive effort, those two especially, just to turn double plays at high school level is not easy, and those guys just make it seem so easy.
Well, those are 2 pretty good players there, and Trevor's been solid at second, but Hayden is very athletic. We had a good double play combo right there yesterday, and, if we don't make those 2 double plays, then it's even more of a struggle. So, and that's what we were going for there in the 5th. We put a guy on who's by far, I think, their best hitter, 295 down the right field fence. He hit the ball hard twice Tyler Ellis has been one of the best we've ever had at getting that double play ball. And, infield in, 300 hitter becomes a 500 hitter. So it's just one of those things that didn't work out. I thought we did things the right way. It just we came up a little short.
And things that we hope work out, of course, a busy week next week. You head into Belleville West on Monday. Looks like the weather's going to pretty well work out for most of your games next week. Belleville West on Monday, then back another Southwestern Conference team. You head to Edwardsville on Wednesday, and then you welcome the Highland Bulldogs to town on Saturday for a doubleheader, of course, in what proves to be a very busy week for Rams baseball, but plenty of good tests along the way.
A lot of good tests, and it should get you ready for the regional. Now, some years you can play well and come up short, and that very well could happen. We're going to have to definitely play well. We're going to have to stay with our quality of bats. We're going to play defense and pitch, and if not, those games can get away from you. But that's what we want to do, is play good competition, and we feel like that would help us more going into the postseason and playing rather not so good competition.
Well, no doubt about that. Of course, Southwestern Conference teams, and you look at Edwardsville, kind of riding high this year. Of course, Coach Funkhauser picks up win number 500, and I know it's about the kids on the field, but, it seems like anytime you can get your coach a milestone, the team really bands together. So, and them, of course, threatening for Southwestern Conference glory year in and year out, just seems to that one especially be a good game there on a Wednesday before getting a couple of days rest and then having the always tough Highland Bulldogs out of the Mississippi Valley, who also contending for a conference title again this year. So really just a good punch there of the Southwestern Conference blended with the Mississippi Valley. Good 3A and 4A tests heading into what could be a tough postseason run.
Absolutely. It's going to be a challenge. 4 games in a week with those guys is not easy. So, it's going to be fun. I hope that our guys are excited about it. I'm sure they are. We're going to have some quality pitching from everybody to get through those 4 games. We still want to have our guys ready to go for the regional. The tough thing is we're going on the road Monday, long trip, come back banquet Tuesday, long trip Wednesday, so it's going to be a real good challenge for us. And we haven't been able to play Edwardsville in a few years. I think Mulvaney's senior year we played them at home and maybe got them 2-1 or something, but we had a great game with them. So we're looking forward to going over there. I know it's been a long time since we've been over to their place.
I think it was a 2-1 walk-off or something like that, wasn't it? I mean, it was pretty dramatic.
Yes, it was a good game.
Yes, it was. And, of course, finally, our WMIX Sports social media question of the week. I feel like this is one geared towards a guy like you. Sometimes It's hard to get up in the morning. What time do you set your alarm to get up each day?
5:15.
Nice.
I'm up at 5:15.
I could never do that, ever.
I get up. I'm pretty routine-oriented. I get up. I go straight downstairs, work out, fix some oatmeal, get my stuff ready, get the boys ready, and off to work.
See, there you go. Of course, that's probably why you're so successful in my Rams baseball course, is seeking yet another 25-win season and hopefully more postseason glory to be had along the way. Tim, congratulations on 4 straight conference titles. Can't wait to see what the Rams are able to do this week on the road and at home.
All right, thanks, Chris.
That's Tim Holloway, Mount Vernon Rams baseball, 24-6-1, and of course that dreaded tie with the Althoff Crusaders on the road, a game that was suspended just a couple of weeks ago. Actually, it was last week. Seems like forever ago now, but it was May the 2nd, I remember. 2-2 as they were headed into the 6th, but because the Rams beat Centralia, they did not have to make that game up because no conference implications whatsoever were on the line. So it goes down as a tie, and probably a better tie for Althoff than it would be the Rams. But the Rams, of course, still the number 1 seed heading into that Heron Regional, and of course, that'll be a Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday regional at Heron. We'll tell you about that. We'll kind of assess the situation with the 3A and 4A baseball and softball pairings next week. But what you have here with the Rams is they will head to the Heron Regional. They will actually get, I believe, time off until the 22nd of May, as that Heron Regional starts on Monday, as I told you. In fact, how do you like to be the Heron Tigers, the number 5 seed in their regional? But because they are the 5 seed, they have to travel to number 4 Marion in the first game, so it's conceivable that Heron hosting the regional will not get to play on their new home surface. So how do you like that? Of course, the Rams on the 22nd get the winner of that game. On the 23rd, which is a Thursday, it's Centralia Carbondale. And so, if the Rams and the seeds play out, you could possibly see a Mount Vernon Centralia Regional Championship for the first time since 2011 in Williamson County. We need to take a break. When we come back, of course, we'll have Lance Bolt of Mount Vernon Lady Rams softball. His team Welcome back, Haley Lockhart, of course, last week, and have since rattled off 3 straight games, but it's not just her coming up with the offense. We'll talk more about all of the Lady Rams when we come back from a quick break. This is the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX and WMIXSports.com. Don't forget our social media question. You can find it on Facebook.com/WMIX Sports. Sometimes it's hard to get up. What time do you set your alarm for, whether it's the weekday or the weekend? We want to know. Hit us up on Facebook. You can tweet us at WMIX Sports. We'll discuss our answers at some point later on in the Saturday Sports Show. I know, Mike, your bride can't wait to hear your answer. We'll get to that probably in the 9 o'clock hour. I already know what your answer is as well. But Saturday Sports Show powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
It happens every spring. You need a great quality new-to-you vehicle. There's a reason why Second Chance Auto has been helping put families into affordable, dependable vehicles for over 32 years. Honest, fair deals. Ain't nothing fancy, just great vehicles with warranties, honest deals, and bank rate financing for all. That's the only way Second Chance Auto will do business. And you don't even have to leave your home to get credit approval. Call Second Chance Auto at 244-4582 and get pre-approved right over the phone. They know bad things can happen to good people. Second Chance Auto, Route 142 East in Mount Vernon. The Orthopedic Center of Southern Illinois proudly welcomes Dr. Brian Steinke to their medical staff. Dr. Steinke earned his medical degree at the University of Illinois in Chicago and has degrees in anatomy and physiology from UC Berkeley, and he brings prestigious credentials to the center. Dr. Steinke is a gifted physician and contributor to orthopedic textbooks. Call 618-242-3778 or visit their informative website at orthocenter-si.com.
I'm Kevin Snyder with a look at your next rad weather. Clouds and sun for today with a thunder shower in a few spots during the afternoon. High of 66. Then tonight, partly cloudy and cool with a low 37. For Mother's Day, tomorrow mostly sunny and cool with a high of 61 and a low tomorrow night of 35. Partly sunny and pleasant for Monday, high of 69. Next rad weather from WMIX, Mount Vernon, Illinois.
And we welcome you back to the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX and WMIXSports.com. Glad to have you with us. Chris Hugo with Mike Richardson in studio. Avery Barton pushes the buttons. Brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Of course, you'll have to excuse me salivating. Reese Barnfield just brought me a delicious breakfast, a little barbecue chicken pizza that is absolutely amazing. Pizza for breakfast? Yes, it's crazy. But on a Saturday morning, when you've been up all night, probably not. So we welcome Lance Bolt to the broadcast. Of course, head coach of Lady Rams softball. His team nearing the 500 mark in the South 7 Conference. 1 game left to play in the conference race. Busy week next week. Before that, we'll talk about his prior 3 games. Lady Rams on the 3-game winning streak. Lance has to feel pretty good.
Yeah, we're playing the best ball we played all year. Things are going pretty good right now. Got a tough week ahead of us with some good competition. Which will be good. It'll get us prepared for the regionals coming up. But, yeah, we're pretty excited about how things are going right now.
Well, and I know Haley Lockhart, who's returned to the lineup. We talked about that, I believe, a bit last week. But I know it's going to get a lot of the ink and a lot of the attention. But it really seems like from having seen your results and texting you after games and getting the feel for what happened, you have her come back against Carbondale. You get a big win against Cahokia. You beat Benton as well. Weather kind of pushes you off all the way up until the game against Althoff.
On Wednesday.
So, I mean, you had that. It was originally supposed to be Thursday, then it gets pushed up due to the threat of weather again. But all in all, it really seemed like the team as a whole had a great offensive explosion. I know that Paige Clinton had a home run in that game. Haley had a home run and a multitude of runs batted in and also a multitude of runs scored. I know Kelby Cuiava's bat came alive. Haley Shelf, of course, pitched well for you. You have to be proud of the way the girls are playing. It really seems like they're starting to come together, which is that one addition into the lineup, kind of feeling like a team. And I know you're still battling the injury bug. I know Hannah Wright's battling an injury. I know that Summer is still battling an injury as well. But all in all, it really seems like things are kind of starting to gel a little bit. Yeah,
we feel that Haley being back just solidifies the middle of that order even more and takes some pressure off some people. And she's this has been so good for her, but it's also been great for the whole team. And it's kind of allowed people to just fall into place in the batting order in the right spot. Kelby Cuiava's doing a great job in the 2-hole. She's not striking out. She's putting the ball in play, making things happen. She's been picking up a lot of doubles here lately and driving home Paige. And then Haley's been hitting behind her and hitting the ball hard. And then Lauren Wilson, Summer Hobson, those girls are also doing a great job bringing girls home. So
Offensively, we're probably clicking more than we have all year, no question about it. And then same thing's true defensively. We didn't have any errors at all tough, and that was the first time in a long time we had an errorless game. So early in the year, we were having 4 or 5 errors a game, and now it's 0 or 1 errors a game. So a lot better than what it used to be, and that's so key for us.
Well, and for me, not really having a chance to have seen you guys since Nashville, and knowing that some adjustments you made then, and seeing that Summer Hobson was out in left field, I believe Micaiah Rush is probably still in center for you. I think Lauren Wilson had spent some time in right. Mallory Garner was at third. You had moved Paige Clinton from catcher to shortstop to help solidify the defense. I believe you're probably, if Haley's playing defensively, probably have her in at second or first, depending upon a pitching matchup. I think I remember Rachel Wright as your catcher, along with Hannah, and who's hurt now, can't pitch for you, but Haley Shelf, of course, Casey Little, amongst some others who are pitching now. And it really seems like the defense looked good, I thought, that day against a tough Nashville team. And if that's kind of the similar route that you've taken since then, I could see where that would improve, especially when you start to get into more heated games, closer games with some heated rivals. And it really seems like maybe that could be something that come the postseason, come that Heron Regional, could maybe surprise some people.
Yeah, we don't have people at the same positions that we did early in the year. It's a different look. Like you said, we had to move Paige to shortstop just to solidify the left side a little bit. We also moved Lauren Wilson into center field and moved Micaiah to right. Lauren is just a terrific outfielder as far as tracking the ball. She doesn't quite have the foot speed that Micaiah has, but she catches anything hit out in that general area and just gets behind the ball well, makes good throws. And Micaiah is doing a fine job, too. We just decided to move her over to right. And then, like you said, we put a freshman behind the plate, Rachel Wright, but she's done a terrific job back there. No complaints at all. She's throwing out base runners. So, defensively, we're a different look than what we were, but it's still, I mean, this is just a lot better, I think, as far as just being solid. And, our pitchers don't strike a lot of girls out. We didn't strike anybody out at all tough. So we've got to be able to make plays defensively to keep us in ball games. And our pitchers are doing a good job throwing strikes. Haley Shelf, Casey Little, Elby Kawaba, they're doing a great job throwing strikes, making us make plays. And if we can do that, I think we're going to be just fine. We just have to make those plays.
Well, and with making those adjustments as we talked about, your defense in the infield solid. You have Summer Hobson who can control some real estate out there in left. Of course, you mentioned the switcheroo. Basically, with Rush and right, and of course Wilson in center, it gives you pretty well 2 center fielders there. So, I mean, you're going to have a lot of ground covered in the outfield, which should give you a pretty good chance to win some ball games the rest of the way. You travel to Belleville East, of course, on Monday. I'm assuming the schedule. I do have one change, I think. I may have this right, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty confident that I have this right. Monday, you travel to Belleville East.
Yes.
Tuesday, you allegedly host Effingham. Yep. Wednesday, you allegedly go to O'Fallon. Thursday, I understand you might be going to Centralia to make up with the Annies.
Yeah, that's the makeup conference game against Centralia. We go to Centralia on Thursday. And then Friday, we wrap things up at Salem.
Boom.
And we're trying to make up Mascoutah possibly somewhere next Saturday. So, we'll let you know about that. But, yeah, those 5 for sure this week.
Well, and I mean, you have to feel good. You're going into a week where you know your schedule, and of course, weather would probably be the only thing to hopefully really upset that, and it looks like it's going to be a promising week most of the days next week. Do you feel kind of relieved? I mean, it's been a tough year with regard to the schedule and weather and other teams, kind of taking us off at the last minute, but I think you have to feel confident knowing what you're going into and being able to actually have somewhat of a game plan.
Yeah, I haven't felt this good about things, really all year. The scheduling, that's just the way it is, I guess, in the spring, and you just never know. I've had a couple years like this when I coached out at Weber in baseball. You just never know what's going to happen with the weather. But our girls are doing fine. They're adjusting to it, and they're going with the flow, and they're just ready to play. They're eager to play every day. And now that we got some of the parts coming together, it just makes it that more exciting to get out there on the field. We still need to get Summer Karch back, really hoping she can come back the next week. And Hannah Wright, there's a possibility she may be able to throw here and there. Not like she was, but the doctors She went to see the doctor yesterday, so there's a little bit of hope there with Hannah. But if they're healthy and if we're still clicking offensively and defensively, I like our chances.
Well, and I like the chances of getting a good answer out of you for this following WMIX Sports social media question. Probably not quite as tough. It's more based on selfish things for me today. Sometimes it's tough to get up in the morning. My question is, what time do you set your alarm to get up each day?
We set our alarm at 6 o'clock.
Wow.
Which is pretty tough for me because I'm not a morning person, but I got to get up at 6 because I've been told that I got to help around the house before I leave for work and get the kids ready, and I still got to eat my honey bunches of oats and watch a little bit of MLB baseball. So, but that's what we do. We get up at 6 o'clock. Honestly, my son gets up at 6 anyway. He's our alarm clock, so that makes it pretty easy for the rest of us.
Sounds that way. Lance, of course, busy week next week. I know we'll see you on Tuesday to start as you guys welcome the Effingham Flaming Hearts. You do travel Monday, of course, to Belleville East. We'll talk to you plenty, of course, during the upcoming week. And, of course, good luck to the Lady Rams, and can't wait to see some Lady Rams softball again this week on the radio. It's going to be fun, I think, for all of us, but good luck to your gals this final week and hopefully make a nice little postseason run.
All right, we hope so. Thanks a lot, Chris.
Thanks, Lance. That's Lance Bolt, head coach of the Lady Rams. Good dude, works hard at it, and hopefully will be here for a long time. I don't think he gets a lot of credit for the results this season. Of course, we need to take a quick break, and I know you're saying Hugo a lot of credit. I mean, it has not been the easiest year for Lady Rams softball, from scheduling snafus to weather to everything in between, battling injuries, and not making excuses, but sometimes that happens. We'll take a break. Saturday Sports Show, of course, on WMIX and WMIXSports.com. It's presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
We'll talk with a friend of the Saturday Sports Show, Jeff Harrison, of course. This should be always interesting. It always is. He's a good interview. Can't wait to talk to Jeff after the break. We'll talk some Lady Rams soccer. We'll talk about their 11-7-1 record and where they head in the postseason here after the break. We're back after these.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend that time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, the entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician, physician assistant, or nurse practitioner within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com/faster to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
How do the best continue to get better? Hi, this is Chase Landers with Landers Collision Centers. We're no different than any team. When you're at the top of your game, the best want to play for you. That's why, with the addition of our new shop foreman and the rest of our body shop crew, Landers now has a combined experience of over 70 years in dealing with the best parts and repair finishes on the market. This means when you walk into Landers, you can breathe a little easier knowing that your vehicle will receive the best quality repair by the best certified technicians within a reasonable amount of time. Again and again, we work directly with most insurance companies and have loaners and rental vehicles on site for your convenience. We're proud to not only be the standard, but to keep raising the bar in collision repair. Come meet the staff, take a tour of our facilities, and get to know the Landers crew that Landers Collision has so proudly acquired. Big or small, Landers fixes them all. Give us a call, 1-888-LANDERS. That's 1-888-LANDERS.
State Farm, this is Jessica.
Hey, Jessica, Jerry Newman. Does State Farm offer more discounts to more drivers?
Yep, like the good driver discount.
So it's for good, but not great drivers.
No, Jerry. There's also the multi-line discount.
For calling from multiple lines while driving.
You should never use a phone while driving.
I only make calls from my car when I'm stuck in a ditch or something.
Are you in a ditch?
Yes, I am.
State Farm offers more discounts to more drivers than any other insurance company. Get to a better state.
One more reason to call State Farm agent Tony Wilton Mount Vernon at 242-1421.
And we welcome you back. Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXSports.com. Chris Hugo with Mike Richardson in studio. Avery Barton pushes the buttons. Danny Zerwinski, of course, is on assignment this morning. It's all brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
We'll try that one more time. Avery was pushing the buttons. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
We're all tired this morning. There's no doubt about that. He had a good time last night, of course, at a Cardinal game, so we can't fault him for that. Of course, we're glad to have back on the program Jeff Harrison, head coach of Lady Rams Soccer. His team finishes the regular season, of course, at 11-7-1. Gets a big win over Centralia on Thursday. Jeff, good morning.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
You know what, going pretty well. You guys get a big win, South 7 Conference rivalry against the Centralia Annies on Thursday. As I understand it, there was probably a bit of a weather delay up there.
Yeah, we were really fortunate to even get the game in at all. We had 2 delays that were pretty significant. We were just fortunate that they kind of worked out in times where you would want them to happen. One was pregame, so the game didn't get started until 45 minutes late, so we didn't have a delay midway through play. We had another delay at the half. So, it was good that the 2 halves didn't get broken up, but at the same time, that varsity contest was about a 3-hour ordeal instead of about an hour and a half. And, that definitely affects the kids, but we still played well enough to get that win, so that was what mattered.
Well, and, of course, about midway through the second half, Whitney Warner picks up the game's only goal, the only offense you needed. It had to be tough under the weather conditions, and it's been a crazy, crazy year for weather after last year getting so spoiled with unfortunately what became a drought, unfortunately. But, you get a lot of rain this year, and you have your schedule, I'm assuming if you just kept riding on the original schedule, you probably would not recognize it by the time it was all said and done.
No, not really. We've kind of had the good and bad. The weather's obviously been bad. We've had some cancellations, but we didn't have as many games canceled as some of the other sports did. But because of that, that meant that we were playing in a lot of really bad weather. We started the year in early March. We never saw weather above 40 until we got to April, and we already had 5 games in at that point. We played a game in sleet. We've had a few rainouts, and then a few games that we did get in that had rain. We played in some really swamped fields. And like you said, last year was just so perfect. I didn't have to cancel any practices. We were outside all year long. I was wearing shorts in early March, and it just continued on. But yeah, you were right. It did turn into a drought, so that was not good in the end. But the weather has been something that we've really had to deal with this year. It's really affected not just the scheduling of our games, but just the scheduling of the season, as how we schedule days off to rest, we schedule days to practice. We just had a lot of changes, and but we battled through it. That's kind of part of the deal when you play outside in the spring. Sometimes you get lucky with the weather, and sometimes you deal with things that we've had to deal with this year.
Of course, you finished the regular season 11-7-1. You head into a regional that's entirely South 7 Conference teams. So you've played twice each. Before we talk about the Marion Regional, why don't we talk about some of the girls who have been there for you all season? I know that I see a lot of ink, obviously, from Whitney Warner. Of course, Taylor McGowan's one that I often see in print, among others. Let's talk about some of the girls.
Yeah, I've got a really strong senior class, which is great for this year. We've been grooming these kids and working with them. These kids have all been varsity players for years on end. They've got a lot of experience, and these past couple of years they've really been able to reap the fruits of their effort and got a lot of wins and had some success. Clearly, Whitney Warner has been a big contributor to that. Last year she was able to score 37 goals, setting a school record, which was pretty impressive. This year she hasn't been able to quite match those totals, but we've played fewer games, we've had tougher competition, we've been able to spread the scoring around a little more equally, which is a good thing for the team. But her success is she's kind of put in that position to have success, that recognizable kind of success with the goal scoring. But she's definitely been the beneficiary of what my midfield and my back line has done. And even next to her, I've had a freshman this year that kind of came out of nowhere with very, very little soccer experience from whenever she was young, and Alex Pigg. She's worked herself into a very regular starter for me. Usually plays all 80 minutes in a game. Had the game-winning goal on senior night, scored in the championship game in the Centralia tournament. So she's done some big things for us alongside Whitney. My midfield contributions have been coming from several different girls. I've really, because of injuries, I've had to kind of put girls in positions that they can play, but they're not used to playing. But kind of some of my staples in midfield have been Betsy Keeker's been one that's been healthy for me all year long. Chandler Scarborough has been healthy for me all year long. I've been able to put a lot of minutes on those girls. I've really missed the presence of Sydney Cruz. She's missed, I think, the last 5 games, and still isn't going to be available to me in the regional. And she's a big contributor to the team when she's healthy. But I've had some other girls step in and be good role players for me. Maggie Aaron has stepped in and played a lot more minutes and been a good contributor. Madalena Overstreet's been there for me all year long. It's great to have that left foot out on that left wing. She's really gotten comfortable out there as a sophomore, getting her first year heavy varsity minutes. She's really responded well to that. And my back four, my defensive backs have been probably most impressive to me. In our losses, we've had some tough losses, but in my eyes, a loss is a loss, and they've been against really elite programs. With as far as area competition, teams that you can say that we should beat or have an opportunity to win. We've taken care of business in all those games, and most of those games that we've won, I can't recall right offhand. We've got 11 wins. I know 7 or 8 of those wins are shutouts, and that's because of how well that back four has played. And Taylor McGowan has been one of those girls that's been there for me all year long. She's battled injuries, but always been able to stay on the field. I've been able to get her in midfield a little bit. She's been able to score some very impressive goals off that back line. She's got a heck of a foot and has just about unlimited range when we're on our scoring half, and has gotten some really impressive goals. I've really missed Molly Kester this year. She was a consistent starter for me last year who's battled a knee injury from the off-season that carried over into this year and then reoccurred to where she's missing the end of the year. Kind of same thing with Kirsten McGowan. She was a girl I was really counting on, and Taylor's younger sister. And I've had her here lately, but she's battled some health issues and came into the year with a knee injury as well, to where she didn't get a late start until in a couple weeks into April. And Elizabeth Jones has been consistent for me. She's been healthy all year, played a lot of minutes this year for me. And I've gotten some contributions from some young kids as well. And a girl, Katie Dykes, has played some awesome minutes for me. And of course, I've had Paisley Stewart in goal all year long as a senior. I've been counting on her to do good things for me, and she really has. I've been impressed with the way Paisley's played in competitive games we've had this year.
Well, and of course, now you head into the postseason. You go to the Marion Regional, where a tough regional with Marion and Carbondale as the top 2 seeds, Lady Rams were the 3, Centralia the 4. But as you've come on strong to close out the regular season, a tough effort there with Marion and Carbondale, but it can be done. Of course, Marion and Centralia play Tuesday. You guys play Carbondale number 2 Wednesday, of course, at Marion. But this is a winnable regional for Lady Rams soccer.
To some degree, yeah, it is. The way that high school sports are kind of all this way. It seems like it's especially this way with soccer, especially with girls. You just don't know what's going to happen on that day. We played really well in the regional last year. We played Marion. Marion had a really strong team. They basically got the exact same team this year that they had last year, except for the fact that now they're all a year older, and they have a couple girls that were injured last year that are now available. So they are really strong. But, last year we were able to beat Marion on their field, which I didn't see happening. We had an impressive win there. We came back, and Marion played us a couple weeks later on our field and just totally kicked our butt. I figured there was no way that we would be able to play competitively the way that second game had gone in the regional. We'd give them our best effort and just kind of see what happened, and then sure enough, we play another amazing game. We end regulation 3-3, go into overtime, and end up losing 4-3 in overtime. We have an opportunity to kind of have things play out that way for us again this year. We struggled being able to score against teams like Marion and Carbondale. We've had some pretty strong defensive efforts. We just played Marion really well defensively last week, held them scoreless for 55 minutes. If we can kind of do that again, if we can hold Carbondale down for 50, 60 minutes and we can somehow be scoreless, or if we can be fortunate enough to get on the board, that would be great. But being realistic, if we can shorten that game to where we're in the second half and we're 10, 20 minutes into that second half, and if we're still tied at 0, we could possibly win a shortened game. We could win a 20 or 30-minute game. But we can't let Carbondale score early and think that we're going to outscore them or keep up with the scoring all game long. So it's really going to count on defense. I'm really going to put the pressure on them to have to hold these guys down and hope somewhere along the way that we can catch Carbondale in transition and find a way to get on the board. I know that Carbondale's got Marion on their mind. They've played each other competitively. Marion's a good team. They're rivals. The regional is at Marion this year instead of Carbondale. I know Carbondale would love to go into that Marion regional, win that regional, and beat Marion in the process to get it. So maybe we can catch them sleeping. we'll do our best to put girls in a position to have success, and we'll just lay it all out and see what happens. That's the best we can do.
Amen to that. And, of course, Lady Rams head to that Marion Regional next week. Hopefully we can talk about a regional championship next Saturday. But before we get there, of course, you can't leave without the WMIX Sports social media question of the week.
I don't know how to answer, right?
No, this one's actually easy. It was very selfish on my part. I was up most of the night and had a tough time getting up this morning. So my question is, knowing that it can be tough to get up, what time is your alarm usually set for every morning?
Weekdays, 6. Weekends, just depends on the season. I've got kids, so 6 is kind of where it's at.
I wondered, with 2 little ones at home. Of course, good luck to the Lady Rams next week. And again, really, hopefully we can talk about a regional championship, how great that would be next Saturday here on the Sports Show.
Thank you.
Good luck. That's Jeff Harrison, head coach of Lady Rams Soccer, and it really would be nice. I mean, that's a tough regional. Marion's a good team. They won, and forgive me, I don't have it in front of me. Kind of surprised that I'm here today. But won a tournament. I cannot remember which one to save my life, but it's one they had never won, and it tells you the type of season the Lady Wildcats are having. But Jeff Harrison, Lady Rams Soccer, and obviously a great dude to have on the program, just fun to talk to, high energy, and we wish him the best of luck and his team at the Marion Regional next week. When we come back, it'll be a name that is very familiar with the area in terms of high school basketball. He was an assistant at Cesar-Valliere, of course, a star player in the Black Diamond Conference at Cesar, of course, for Rick Metcalf, and then went on to play baseball and basketball, I believe, at Renlake College before walking on, and successfully walking on at Southern to be a Saluki pitcher. So he is Shane Garner. We'll talk to him next on the Saturday Sports Show, brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
America is a nation on wheels. Everyone has at least one automobile. We use them for shopping, work, everything we do. But they can be a threat. Some accidents can't be prevented. Your professional Pekin Insurance Agency, Page Insurance on Crown View and Mount Vernon, can help protect you from a large financial loss when an accident happens. Call Page Insurance today at 242-7000 about low-cost auto insurance from Pekin Insurance. Ask them about the many money-saving discounts that are available. Depend on your hometown professionals.
Pekin Insurance.
What does technology sound like? Is it the clang of heavy machinery, the beeps and chirps of an electronic gadget? At the new Good Samaritan Regional Health Center, technology sounds a little something like this.
It's the sound of a young girl excited because her mom's being released the same day as her minimally invasive surgery. Thanks to the Da Vinci surgical robot, our surgeons' hand motions are seamlessly translated into smaller, more precise movements. But surgery isn't the only way Good Samaritan is raising the bar for advanced healthcare in Southern Illinois.
That's the sound of a patient's health record being updated and stored electronically for immediate access by nurses, primary care doctors, and specialists alike. That's why soon, the new Good Samaritan Regional Health Center will use all electronic patient health records. Less paper translates to faster, better care for you. And that sounds a little something like this.
The new Good Samaritan Regional Health Center, raising a hospital, raising the bar.
Southern Illinois now has a better home for sports. It's the all-new WMIXSports.com. Jam-packed with local scores, video highlights, and archives of every local sports broadcast on WMIX. Did your team win? Missed that game-winning shot last night? Didn't catch your favorite coach on the Saturday Sports Show? WMIXSports.com is right at your fingertips. On your computer, your smartphone, your tablet, or your video game console. It's the all-new WMIXSports.com. Another free service from Withers Broadcasting.
And we welcome you back to the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXSports.com. We're all over Twitter at WMIX Sports, though not as much this morning, unfortunately. Time prohibitive. Mike Richardson alongside. I'm Chris Hugo in studio, brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
Proud to welcome our next guest. He is the newly named head boys basketball coach at Cesar-Valliere, of course, a famous alum. He is Shane Garner. Coach, good morning.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
Of course, congratulations on the gig, and I knew it was a big deal. One, because it's probably not a surprise to guys like Danny, myself, and Mike, but I knew it had to be a big, big deal. Your name was already on IHSA.org as the boys basketball coach by yesterday morning. That is pretty significant because, one, you can notify them right after you're hired, and it still take 3 months to get it on there. But your name was on there as of Friday, and that's a pretty big deal in terms of the IHSA. But congratulations again. But before we kind of talk about what may come over this coming year, you know, you're back home, you're coaching there, you're of course helping out Chip over the past few years. You guys make that nice run. You have some pretty successful seasons. But when you were walking on at Southern to play baseball, did you ever think that about 9 years later, you would be the head boys basketball coach at one of the most prideful sports programs at Cecil Valera at your alma mater. Did you ever think that?
At that moment, probably not. As you're going through college, you have all kinds of different dreams and all kinds of different things you want to do. But once I graduated and the opportunity came up to come back home and teach, I knew that was an opportunity I needed to jump on. And then being able to work with, Coach Kirk, who was the head coach at the time, and then Chip, was his assistant. I learned a lot, and I learned to love how to coach from watching those two. And so I'm very excited about, filling this new position, and especially since it is my home.
Well, and then, of course, playing for Rick Metcalf, and then having him still in the school, and then having Chip, of course, as your athletic director. Do you feel it's going to be pretty beneficial knowing that you'll be able to lean on both of them for advice whenever you should happen to need it?
Oh, yeah, I think it's great. And Chip has worked with me, hand in hand this entire way. Being his assistant, being his JV coach, he has allowed me to have, a lot of opportunities to work in certain areas, to work with the offense, to work with the defense, and he really empowered me as his assistant. And, I know he's going to be there right along the way with me, and Coach Metcalf down the hallway, is always there for questions. And not only them, but, Mr. Shote, Coach Shote, who's had a lot of success coaching basketball, he's there as our principal. So I got three good guys right there in the building, who I can go to and bounce questions off and bounce ideas off of.
Well, and of course, and then a great program from Coach Van Horn all the way down to Coach Metcalf to Coach Kirk, Coach Basso, of course, everybody over 500 in that time. What does it mean to you? Not only, forgetting that it's your alma mater, Cecil Valera, many people may not recognize a very good basketball program over the course of the past 30 years, 35, 40 years or so. What does it mean to take over the reins of such a great program?
It means a lot. It's a special thing. Like you said, not only me growing up watching the program, being a part of the program, coming back to the program, but, I love this community, and this community loves their athletes, loves their sports. And it's special to be a part of that. You hear a lot of the predominant schools over the years, the Pinckneyvilles, the Nashvilles, the Bentons, and all that of their, just the power teams that they've had with their community sport. And although, we're thankful to have one state trophy in our trophy case, but this community has always been, proud of its teams. And it's special to have that backing because, when you show up to games, there's going to be people in the seats. They're going to be cheering on the boys. And that's something that's uplifting as a coach to have.
Well, and uplifting indeed. And, of course, another great influence. I know you teach alongside Johnny Hollis. You coach with him as well on the football team. Not sure if you're going to remain on the football staff or not, but, it's another great influence to have on you, not only from, say, a coaching standpoint, but philosophically and spiritually as well.
Oh, definitely. I'm right across the hallway from Coach Hollis, and we worked hand in hand together last year, it being his first year. We went through those growing pains and being there for him for those things, and I know he's going to be there, for me this year. And it is uplifting to have, those relationships with those guys in the building, with him and with Chip also, because they're there. They've known what we're going to go through, and they've been there. And, Johnny being fresh out of the gate, too, just in his second year coming back, you can't say how good it is to have those guys right there for you.
Well, no doubt about that. But, of course, as you look ahead to the upcoming season, I know a bit of disappointment there last year at the Waltonville Regional with Steelville, of course, eventually coming out of there. And heading into next season, of course, I know you're going to lose some to graduation. But early on, now as you've taken the reins, I know you probably haven't had a lot of time to focus on it. But any idea of a possible staff, or have you talked to any players that, might not have played that might be willing to come out?
Well, I met with the boys just the other day, and we had a good showing. Had a couple seniors, going to be seniors who came out. Clayton Holford, he showed up at the meeting. He's battling for the quarterback position on our football team. He played a couple years. As soon as he got to high school, a great competitor, a great heart. And stuff like that. Just kids like that who might not make a giant impact on your team for sure maybe in the box score, but they're just going to uplift practice. They're going to bring that competitive nature to the team, and it's great to have that. In returning, Nick Marlowe was a prominent starter for us halfway through the season last year. Tyler Baxter and Jordan Gunner, they kind of shared time off and on. We have a good sophomore class coming back who played JV ball for me last year. So there is some, there's some excitement with the kids, being something new. That's, there is for everything. But, we look forward to it, and as we kind of hit the road here, once the summer starts, we'll know more about ourselves.
And, of course, we'll get to know more about Red Devils basketball under Shane Garner, of course, over the coming years. Coach, a very esteemed congratulations to you on getting that job. We know you're going to do a great job down there in Cessna, and we can't wait to talk with you more as one of the teams we feature on our basketball showcase this coming fall and winter.
All right. Thank you guys for having me, and thank you for all you do, not only for us, but all the schools around. You guys cover a lot of people, and it's great to know to look on Twitter and look on Facebook and see your school's name and see your kid's name on there. So we appreciate that.
And we appreciate the compliment. Thank you very much. That's Shane Garner, of course, head coach of Cessna-Valier. We'll take a break here in just a moment on the Saturday Sports Show. Before we do, some fundraiser information to mention here for you. Of course, as there is a car wash going on today, as we'll work on hanging up that phone. There we go. In studio, we're all asleep today. That happens. But, of course, a great day here in Mount Vernon. It's a great day to get a car wash. It's a free car wash. Mount Vernon Hoop Squad, of course, car wash at AutoZone, 3109 Broadway in Mount Vernon. Of course, that is from 10 to 4 today. It's a free car wash. They will accept donations. No donation is too small. So, there's a lot of programs that run on donations. If you happen to have a fundraiser you want us to mention, email us, WMIXsports@mywithersradio.com. We'll be more than happy to publicize that for you. In fact, there's going to be some Rams baseball camps. I don't have that information on me. Some fundamental camps coming up. Meant to touch on that a little bit, but we ran out of time with Tim Holloway this morning. Of course, we'll run down that over the course of the coming weeks. We need to take a break. When we come back, it'll be Mike Blakemore. We'll talk about the Max Hoopster Gus Macker 3-on-3 tournament coming up in June. But why talk about it now? Because in order to play, you've got to register by this coming Friday. We'll get you information on that. We'll talk with Michael Blakemore, of course, coming up after the break here on the Saturday Sports Show, powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
Don't just dream about a better job. Go get it with scores of programs that take 2 years, 1 year, or even just a few months to complete. Rend Lake College is your gateway to a career you'll love. From nursing to coal mining, from computer programming to cosmetology, and everything in between. Rend Lake College is affordable, convenient, and ready to get you trained for your new job fast. Call us at 618-437-5321 or visit us at rlc.edu.
Southern Illinois' home for news, talk, and America's best music. WMIX Mount Vernon, a free service from Withers Broadcasting.
The Medicine Shop in Mount Vernon would like to announce the grand opening of a custom compounding lab located right next door. What is compounding, you ask? Well, quite simply, it's working with your doctor to solve problems. Have you ever had an infant who couldn't keep antibiotics down? Compounding is formulating that drug into a suppository. Problem solved. Have you ever been nauseous and unable to take tablets? We can compound that anti-nausea drug into a cream you simply apply to the skin. Problem solved. Worried about side effects or risks associated with oral pain medication or hormone therapy? We can compound pain medications or hormone meds into a topical cream that will avoid most, if not all, of the risks and side effects. Problem solved. These are just a small sampling of our ability to better serve our patients. It's another way we at the Medicine Shop stand out from the competition. Give the staff at the Medicine Shop a call today.
I'm Kevin Snyder with a look at your next rad weather. Clouds and sun for today with a thundershower in a few spots during the afternoon. High of 66. Then tonight, partly cloudy and cool with a low 37. For Mother's Day, tomorrow mostly sunny and cool with a high of 61 and a low tomorrow night of 35. Partly sunny and pleasant for Monday, high of 69. Next rad weather from WMIX, Mount Vernon, Illinois.
And we welcome you back to the Saturday Sports Show. Down. Come on, down. Brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare
should be.
bumping
this morning here.
Too early for that.
Oh, my gosh. It is definitely an early morning after being here all night. But, of course, we're glad to have you with us. We told you who we're brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. We appreciate them more than anybody will ever know. What we also appreciate is good things happening in the community. And one of those things is going to be the Max Hoopster 3-on-3 basketball tournament. Of course, it's of the Gus Macker variety, which means it's legit, of course. And we welcome Mike Blakemore to talk about it. Mike, good morning.
Good morning.
You know what? This is a big deal. Gus Macker tournament coming to the King City. Of course, it'll be at the Times Square Mall June 7th, 8th, and 9th. And what a privilege it is to be able to have one of these in our very own hometown.
Oh, yes, it's a great privilege, and we are very excited to be a part of this and to be able to bring this to Mount Vernon. This is the first time something of this magnitude has really been brought to this city and this region. So we're very, very excited about it.
Well, and a reason to be, and I noticed, I'm assuming what is a play on the name of Max Hooper with the Max Hoopster 3-on-3 tournament, but it's at the Times Square Mall June 7th, 8th, and 9th, but it's not one of those where I believe you can just show up. I think you have to register ahead of time. Is that right?
Right, that's correct. You have to register online, and the way to register is www.macker.com. Also, you can mail in your registration to the Mount Vernon Tourism. And they're one of the ones, the festival committee. They have took this on, the Mount Vernon Festivals Inc. They have took this on, and made this become reality.
Well, and a reality indeed, and of course, it's at the Times Square Mall. And when scouting locations, is that something where the mall just kind of jumped up and said, "Hey, let's have it here"? And I assume it's probably just going to be on the parking lots out in front, or how's that going to work?
Well, with the festivals committee, we done some site checks downtown because we wanted to have that festival atmosphere. But the way that Gus Macker set up, they said, why don't you try to find an open area? That way, we can bring in a lot of courts. So we bounced around some different ideas and came up with Times Square Mall. And Times Square Mall was very fortunate, to allow us to have it out there. And it's going to be set up right in front of Sears in that parking lot, right in front of Sears. So. I mean, it's going to be an absolute spectacle. We're expecting to have approximately 20 courts out there. If more are needed, we'll bring out more. But, it's going to be a great, great atmosphere.
I know the weekends, Mike, that traveling, you guys have your schedule fixed. Do you know, following the Gus Macker scheduling, are they going to be somewhere the weekend before or weekend after that they're going to be here in Mount Vernon?
Yes, they are. Actually, they'll be in St. Louis, and the way it's set up, they have different tournaments throughout the summertime. And whenever we have our location on June 8th, but the weekend prior, it'll be in St. Louis. So we're responsible for going over there and getting the materials that we need, and we bring it back here to Mount Vernon. And then what'll happen is, once our tournament is complete, during the Sunday breakdown process, wherever it goes next, they'll be here with their truck and their volunteers to load up and take it elsewhere. So it's kind of like a traveling tournament. So we're very, very fortunate to have the Gus Macker coming.
And you talked about volunteers. This is not going to be done by one or two people. You're definitely going to have a full staff of anything this magnitude.
That's correct. What this is also a benefit for the United Way of South Central Illinois. So we're gonna have a lot of volunteers, a lot of organizations. I heard of the JCSA; they're going to be a part of it. The Mount Vernon Register News, they're reaching out to people. I mean, it's just going to be just something for the region and for the city of Mount Vernon to really embrace and be proud of.
Concessions, merchandising, all that, all those props get to come along with this as well.
Yes, it's going to be it's going to be a one-stop shop. It's going to be a full-fledged family event. We're going to have a children's area with children's 3-on-3, children's dunk contest. Then we have the adult basketball portion. We'll have slam dunk contest for the adult, 3-point shootout. The age group is from 8 years old all the way up to. There is no age limit, so. Don't be surprised if you see someone out there in their late 90s, early 90s, participating in this basketball tournament.
Well, if they're in a dunk contest, I'm definitely going to come watch that. So.
Oh yes, me too. Actually, Max Hooper, he was here a couple weeks ago for speaking engagement, and he was talking about he was trying to get him a team together. So it has excited a lot of people.
Well, it's certainly an exciting time. I mean, this is a big deal to come to the King City and a great, reputable tournament to have come to town. And, of course, it's June 7th, 8th, and 9th. And run down again how folks can register to participate in this 3-on-3.
Okay, the way to register, you can contact the Mount Vernon Festivals Incorporated at 618-242-3151. And also you can register online at www.macker.com.
There you go. It's going to be a great tournament, I think, and you know what? Actually, there's no doubt it's going to be a great tournament. We wish the best of luck to you and all of the organizers here who have put it together. It's certainly a labor of love, and it's not going to be easy to do it, but you guys are making it look very easy.
Yes, thank you so much. It took a lot of man hours, a lot of idea, and a lot of fingers crossing and praying and just kind of putting things in the right order and putting all the puzzle pieces together, and everything's coming together just fine. And you will see the finished product June 7th, 8th, and 9th here in Mount Vernon.
No doubt about that. Before we let you go, of course, it's our WMIX Sports Social Media Question of the Week, and sometimes it's hard to get up in the morning. What time do you set your alarm to get up each day?
I set my alarm. Well, you know what? I kind of have one of those. I set it for 9 o'clock or 8. I set it for 8 o'clock in the morning, and I always tend to wake up at about 7:05.
Nothing wrong with that. It's how my life usually works. Mike, thank you for taking the time to join us this morning. Good luck to you. You also have a car wash today for the Hoop Squad until from 10 to 4 at AutoZone?
10 to 4 from AutoZone, and we're going to have it whether it rains or whether it thunderstorms. We're going to be out there.
So come help out the Hoop Squad. Mike, good luck with that today. Thank you for taking the time to join us to talk about the Max Hoopster 3-on-3 Classic.
Thank you. I'm so honored. I really appreciate you guys.
That's Mike Blakemore, of course. Thankful to have him on today. Of course, busy guy. Big fundraiser for his Hoop Squad program today, of course. If you want us to promote a fundraiser for your athletic organization or have an event that'll benefit your athletic organization, email us, WMIXsports@mywithersradio.com. We're always happy to try to help out. Helpy, that's a portmanteau of happy and helping.
Could be a new word.
Probably is. There's going to be a lot of new words coming up later in the 9 o'clock hour here on the Saturday Sports Show. Woof. But it's a beautiful Saturday morning. Can't see outside, so I'm just assuming. I could be lying to everybody right now. It's nasty looking out there, Barton?
Nah.
How nasty? Open up your mic and tell us how bad it is.
The sun's up somewhere.
Describe the weather to us, Avery.
It's relatively cloudy outside.
Go with the radio voice. Just talk. I'm kidding you. I've flustered you now.
Yeah. It looked kind of nasty. I wanted to go fishing, but I'm not sure. That's
the best time to go fishing.
Yeah, well,
right now.
I know and here's
muddy.
The thing, and I know you're starting to love Danny a little bit more because he was actually mentioning your name. He didn't open up the microphone for you, by the way. So let's just And for everybody, we did settle the whole Mr. Holloway thing. And I meant to tell Lance Bolt on the air, and I forgot before we get to Jared Shaner that you did not call Tim Mr. Holloway today, so we're very proud of you for that. And not that it matters. We love kids who show respect, and you're a very good kid, Avery Barton. You do a good job for us, and we appreciate that. And you may get some more talk time later on the show. Who knows? But there you go. Of course, he does a good job for us, filling in on-air staff on WMIX-FM as well, and is the man behind WMIXsports.com. So we appreciate that as well. We need to take a break. When we come back, we will talk, and I forgot the word for it already. It has to do with heat and football and pads and this, that, and the other.
Acclimatation? Was that the new word?
Acclimatization, I think.
Acclimatization, yeah.
Jared Shaner will know. He's our next guest on the Saturday Sports Show after a quick break. It's all brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
Back after these, we hope.
Hi, this is Joe David Cummins, President of Community First Bank, asking why you bank with Community First Bank. Is it knowing your deposits are also vital to home loans in Jefferson County and our local economy? Is it having your choice of convenient locations and ATMs? Is it seeing a staff of friendly faces you recognize as your neighbors? These are all reasons enough to count, though you only need one, and we are honored you chose us. Community First Bank, welcome back to personal banking. Member FDIC.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend that time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, the entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician, physician assistant, or nurse practitioner within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com/faster to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
Allow me to introduce the all-new 2013 Lincoln MKZ. Hi, Roy Schmidt Lincoln dealer at Ford Square, Mount Vernon. We are excited about the refreshingly new 2013 Lincoln MKZ and are confident that we have a bigger selection than anyone else in Southern Illinois. The new MKZ is the future of Lincoln design born today. With elegant fluid lines, every surface is faceted like the many dimensions of discovery. Those who seek new experiences will also delight in the many twists and turns of its athletic stance. Inside the MKZ, you'll find genuine wood trim with power windows that boast global open technology and premium leather-trimmed interior. See our great selection of the all-new 2013 Lincoln MKZ online at FordSquare.com, or see one of our associates at Ford Square Mount Vernon, 1501 Broadway in Mount Vernon, Illinois, and find us on Facebook.
Yeah, a little bit of awkward silence. Never heard anybody, of course, talking over a bump. Great song. I think that was actually the first song I blasted after I got my driver's license, as a matter of fact. It was a hit single back in the summer of 99. As Avery Barton probably wasn't even alive back then. But Chris Hugo, Mike Richardson in studio for you, brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Of course, there you go. Our next guest is Mount Vernon Rams head football coach Jared Shaner. I know it seems like it's off-season. Why Coach Shaner? But big stuff happening with the IHSA. And football policy, of course, it is, let me look it up again, something about heat acclimatization. If you can say the word, you probably already understand the policy better than I do. Coach Shaner, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
You know what, doing pretty good. And this seems to be a hot and cold topic, no pun intended, of course. It seems that from coaches we've talked to, love this or hate this. What it is, it's heat acclimatization, something or other. I don't even know. I can't say the word, let alone begin to understand it. But it has to do with your contact days and limiting practice and when you can wear pads and helmets and things of that nature for when it's hot outside, I guess.
Yeah, that's basically what it boils down to. And, I know I've listened a little bit this morning and heard a couple guys talk. And, of course, you read sports pages everywhere throughout the state of Illinois, and they've got some coaches weighing in on it, and I guess I'm probably somewhere kind of right in the middle. I definitely, I understand where this is coming from. I don't remember if it was last year or the year before, but I know there was a young man at Spring Valley Hall who had some heat-related illness and went in and ended up passing away, and obviously that's a terrible tragedy. But then on the other side, you hate when somebody kind of dictates, I guess, how you use your time. That's definitely going to be a little adjustment as well.
Well, and kind of taking a look at this, your contact days were already sort of limited, the way I understand it. I'm not a football coach, nor did I stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. But when you kind of look down at what they're doing here, I mean, it does make sense in that they're trying to protect the kids. But, if you're limited as to when you can go into full pads, which I believe is up until your 7th contact day, I guess, or at least I don't understand this at all. I mean, it baffles me. But, does this harm? I mean, it helps in the sense of the heat and maybe, preventing heat-related injuries and things of that. But does this kind of hurt maybe, say you have kids coming in that maybe did not play tackle football in junior high, like we're fortunate to have the JCSA football. Some towns don't have that. I mean, is that something where that could really limit you in trying to teach the proper art of tackling, and could that lead to more injuries?
Well, I guess that's something we're going to find out, and definitely that is something that people are questioning right now. And, I'm kind of looking at at Policy 13 right now. And when you get into full pads, let me do some quick little math here. It would be about 8 days before your first game that you can actually wear full pads. And by full pads, we mean helmet, shoulder pads, and then all your lower leg pads as well. If you've got a kid who, freshman level or even an older kid that hasn't went out before and decided that they wanted to come out, that's only 8 days of practices that you're in full pads and getting a feel for football. So that's definitely a concern. Now, with that being said, coaches have been doing, fundamental tackling stuff without pads for a long time. You can teach technique with just a helmet on or just a helmet and shoulder pads on, and coaches do that throughout the summer without doing what we call live tackling. So I think there's definitely going to be maybe even more of an emphasis and a focus on that throughout the summer and the early part of practice is just trying to teach technique without being in full pads.
Wow. I mean, you look down, and I'm reading the PDF file from the IHSA, and I even tried to sit through the conference call that they had for media. I believe it was Thursday. I actually had somebody record it for me because I wasn't able to listen to it live, and I did not come out of it knowing or understanding this any better than I did just from reading the PDF, unlike previous IHSA conference calls. But, with 3 hours of a practice limit, and I guess you could have a 1 hour walkthrough, but that limits you to 2 hours of practice, and then you have to rest for 2 hours between?
Yeah, that's it's definitely going to be. I've talked to quite a few of my coaching buddies just in the last couple of days, and it'll definitely be an adjustment for coaches. There's no doubt. I can give people kind of a quick little rundown. We're pretty typical with what we do here. All coaches vary a little bit, but usually, your first day in August, the first true football day, which is always on a Wednesday, a typical schedule throughout the whole state of Illinois, I would say, would be, the times are going to vary, but you're going to get your kids up in the morning, and you're going to have a 2 or 2.5 hour practice. Then a lot of coaches, what they do is they'd send them away in the afternoon. Maybe a group or a position or something comes in and maybe does a meeting and some weightlifting. And then in the evening, everybody else would come back, and you might have another 2 or 2.5 hour practice. Again, this is all in the past now. But that would be pretty typical of the first few days of football in the past, I think, for most coaches in the state of Illinois. And, when you look at these new guidelines, it definitely won't look anything like that, that's for sure.
So the calendar rolls over, of course, I believe, in this coming school year 13-14. Would the first week be August 23rd, or is the first game actually going to be like August 30th?
The first game this year is actually August 30th.
Okay.
So it rolls forward, I guess, the IHSA calendar does. So everybody's, meet the team type night would be on the 23rd, which is, when you're looking at the calendar, kind of a week later than what it typically took place.
So does a meet the team type thing, since it would be a scrimmage, does that count against, would that be your hours of practice that day?
Absolutely. And I'm looking on that day, Friday, week 7 of the IHSA calendar, 3 hour practice limit. So there would be, again, that's kind of coach's discretion, or it has been in the past. I know I've been on staff, and we've done, we just didn't feel like we were quite ready for, to go out and do some things. So after school, you'd keep the kids for an hour and a half, and then you'd let them go and get something to eat, and then they'd come back at 6:30 and do your little scrimmage night at 7 or 7:30. So obviously, some things like that are going to change as well.
And so you can still have 2-a-days on the days where you have 5 hours of practice limitations, it looks like, without a practice exceeding 3 hours, but yet you can't have them on consecutive days, apparently.
Right. And that is, I have never been in the college ranks, but have some friends that are and know a little bit about it. They have practice limits very similar to what we're looking at here with the high school now. They have a maximum number of hours per week, and then it kind of alternates. And basically what they're saying is if you have extended practices on one day, then you can't have them back to back. Which again, in theory, and the reasoning behind it, I think is very legitimate. Nobody wants injuries. Nobody wants a kid to get hurt. But like I said, it's just going to be an adjustment for coaches, and definitely going to have to probably change some things compared to what we used to do.
Well, and taking a look at some of the verbiage they've used and listening to the conference call, and the conference call, of course, had an ATC, a certified athletic trainer from up in the Peoria area that handles most of their stuff and conditioning and things like that. And it really seems like this might be designed more for schools that don't have like a Kerry Hammond type that can be there and devote themselves to the program to kind of recognize when, you know what I mean? It seems like it might be for those that don't have the dedication like the Orthopedic Center gives Mount Vernon High School with an ATC on hand to kind of help protect kids a little bit better. So I get it and I comprehend it, and I'm starting to understand it a little bit better, but it really seems like maybe this could be a window for more injuries of other varieties.
Right. Again, I think that's something we'll find out. I sure hope not. But I think you're right. We're pretty blessed here in Mount Vernon, and like a lot of other larger school districts are. There's there's a lot of small school districts out there that don't have an athletic trainer. And I think back to my high school days, and if something happened, the head coach or one of the assistants got some tape out and taped you up or gave you some ice or whatever you needed, but there was no trainer, there was no doctor, anything like that. So, and I think you guys kind of mentioned earlier, one thing that, again, we have to have rules and guidelines and things like that, but, one thing that I think could be frustrating is I've been out at, started a first day of practice at 6:30 or 7 a.m. On that second Wednesday in August, and had to wear sweatshirts out because it's chilly. So I think, we're talking about a policy designed for heat and things, and obviously typically mid-August is warm, but, you definitely get some times where it's a little bit cooler and cools off at night, and so I think that at that point the heat's not a real big issue.
Well, I brought that up, and that's one thing that when you start mandating rules, and I've been a coach for several years in basketball, and it's one of them things when somebody, and it's all for the betterment of the kids, number one. I want to say that right off the bat of anything. That's what we're always after. But when you take things you can't control, as in the weather, and you specifically say this new policy is weather related, and that's right. What I brought up. We could have a cool spell for a week where you could really utilize extra time with kids in nice situations, and heat would not be a concern. But I've always thought of these rules, and are you going to have to keep a log book? Or are you going to have to date? I don't know how something normally would be done like this. Do you date times? Do you log that in? And as well as I do, this policy put in place, there's going to be schools and coaches in the area around that's not going to follow those policies.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how they're going to be monitored.
Same thing. If I haven't been told that we have to log anything, but just simply, I guess, monitoring and enforcing this is, and I guess maybe the IHSA is saying, hey, we trust our member schools to do what's right, and I sure think the vast majority of people would be, but yeah, there's going to be guys that push the envelope, and and then we talk about where do you fit in your weightlifting on these days? Is that what does that fall under? And can you have meetings in a classroom? And so there's definitely going to be some issues, I think.
Well, and thankfully, and this perfectly led me into my next topic for you, which is the strength and conditioning program that you have helped develop at Mount Vernon High School. And I think that now that that's in place, should be something that hopefully, at least from a conditioning perspective, it may not help your incoming freshman classes, but that should be something that helps your players as well now that they're getting to do that during PE time.
Absolutely. We've seen huge benefits for, I obviously have football players in there, but we have athletes from every sport here at the high school, boys and girls, and then some non-athletes as well. And going into the summer, the kids that are doing summer things, whether that be baseball, soccer, football, basketball, whatever it is, I would say the kids that have been in my strength and conditioning class have a pretty good baseline level of conditioning already. So it's really been a blessing for us to be able to start this and get our athletes, in pretty decent shape throughout the school year.
Well, and of course, and getting to see multiple coaches throughout the year, covering them, broadcasting them, or even talking to them pre-interview time for the Saturday Sports Show, it seems like everybody is appreciative of what you have put together with this, your ability, your desire to want to be a team player, see every sport succeed at Mount Vernon High School, and your willingness to kind of adapt for specific sports. But obviously everybody loves it from whom I've talked to thus far, and I should say everybody I talk to has loved it. I can only assume that everybody loves it because it's a great thing. But for those who may not know exactly what goes on in like a strength and conditioning PE, maybe for future Rams that are listening out there, what exactly does strength and conditioning physical education entail?
Sure. Well, it's one of our course offerings in the PE department, and right now I teach the sections of it. And essentially, it's not limited to athletes, but I have the majority of our athletes throughout the school who take it. And what we do is we use a class period a day of PE, so about 50 minutes, where 3 days a week we lift weights. Obviously, early in the semester, we begin with technique and form and safety and things like that, and then we kind of progress to some strength training and getting the kids stronger. And then 1 day a week we work on just conditioning, simple running stuff, and we'll vary, the workout. Some days it'll be short bursts, and there's some athletic contests where it's such as football, where you've got to be able to play hard for 5 or 6 seconds, then you get a little break. So we do some short burst stuff, and then we also do some longer conditioning training as well, where we just got done running our mile for time. We do that once a quarter. And then on the last day of the week, we devote that to kind of a footwork or agility day, and we do a whole variety of agility drills and things like that to improve the athlete, whatever their sport is. So it's really been a blessing, and I get to work with some great coaches of our boys and girls sports, and I think that's the big thing, just trying to get the kids ready for their season, and then in the season maintain where they're at and maybe work through some injuries and things like that.
And, of course, we're talking now for the Rams head football coach, Jared Shaner. Heat climatization, I believe, is the new policy by the IHSA, talking about strength and conditioning, public education, physical education at Mount Vernon Township High School. Of course, Coach Shaner is on Twitter at MTV Rams Football for those who like his daily quotes. And I believe Scott Gamber said it best, Twitter has turned you into Confucius.
A little bit. I got, last year for Christmas, I got this great set of quote books, so I steal some from them once in a while, and sometimes, Chris knows this all too well, but that insomnia takes over, and at 2:30 in the morning I think it's something really great to tweet. I can always count on you, Hugo, to retweet me or favorite me at 3:15 a.m.
Usually up.
Yep.
Oh, man. Shaner, we appreciate you for taking the time to join us today, but before we let you go, of course, the WMIX Sports social media question of the week, and you're probably going to top everybody on this one, but
way to put me on the spot.
Well, I had issues getting up this morning. There's no doubt about that. I tweeted a picture of like 15 alarms I had set just to ensure that I got up in time this morning. But what time is your alarm set for to get up every day?
I actually turned it off last night, my alarm, but throughout the day I'm set for anywhere between 4:50 and 5:15.
Holloway says 5:15, so if you want to top him, you better stick with 4:50.
Well, I'll tell you, it all depends on my motivation that day, I guess, because it's going off about 4:50, and then that second alarm or that snooze button gets hit once in a while. So I've got to get myself out of bed and start tweeting you for the day.
If I had to make a pecking order from earliest to latest, as far as Rams and Lady Rams coaches, I would always have you and Tim at the top. But I have a sneaking suspicion that if he doesn't have school, Jeff Lonnen is probably the very latest.
Hey, Jeff's not even listening right now. That's my guess.
Exactly. No, he is not up.
We're lucky. You and I both know there's two things that are going to get Jeff out of bed if we don't have school, and that's fishing and NASCAR racing.
Right. Well,
so I don't think he's going fishing today. I think he's going to go to a race over in Indiana tonight. But, yeah, Jeff's probably still snoozing away.
There are certainties in life. They tell you death and taxes. And the other one is Jeff Lonnen never being up before sundown if it doesn't involve fishing.
That's right.
Coach, thank you for taking the time to join us. Obviously, we wish the best of luck to Rams football over the course of the summer. I'm sure we'll talk to you again over the summer months, of course, to get a feel for Rams football, the summer stuff, of course, here in 2013. But thank you for taking the time. Good luck with strength and conditioning PE. I know the school year is almost over, but that's a great thing. And I can't tell you, as somebody who likes to see every sport succeed, and I know I don't matter, but how much I appreciate seeing that happen in our high school.
Well, thanks, Chris. I love coming on and talking to you guys. Thanks for having me.
Jared Shaner, head coach of Mount Vernon Rams football. 2013 season apparently gets started on August the 30th. I did that so I could help promote something. The Rams will travel to Rochester to take on the Rockets. We assume a 7 o'clock start on that Friday night. If so, 6:40 is your pregame. WMIX, streaming video on WMIXsports.com. So that gets that out of the way. Promoted something. Ha ha he he. Car wash today for Mount Vernon Rams Hoop Squad. Or Mount Vernon, pardon me, Hoop Squad. Free car wash. They will accept donations, so please get out your money. They prefer the kind that folds, but they'll accept the kind that jingles. 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at AutoZone here in the King City. You can't miss it. Seriously. please do not miss AutoZone. It's not hard to find. There's a little bit of a clearing on Broadway. If you're headed eastbound, it's to your right. If you're headed westbound, it's to your left. But don't trust me on that, because I get east and west mixed up for some reason. North and south, I'm good. East and west, I kind of get screwed up in the head if I'm not looking at a map. And you can tell I'm in slap happy mode right now. And I'm just kind of talking to myself while talking to people on AM 940 all the way from Paducah to Peoria and St. Louis Terre Haute. So I need to shut up now and go to break. This is the Saturday Sports Show presented by Crossroads Community Hospital.
It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, I was wondering. It's what healthcare should be. Back after this.
Southern Illinois now has a better home for sports. It's the all-new WMIXSports.com. Jam-packed with local scores, video highlights, and archives of every local sports broadcast on WMIX. Did your team win? Missed that game-winning shot last night? Didn't catch your favorite coach on the Saturday Sports Show? WMIXSports.com is right at your fingertips. On your computer, your smartphone, your tablet, or your video game console. It's the all-new WMIXSports.com. Another free service from Withers Broadcasting.
How do the best continue to get better? Hi, this is Chase Landers with Landers Collision Centers. We're no different than any team. When you're at the top of your game, the best want to play for you. That's why, with the addition of our new shop foreman and the rest of our body shop crew, Landers now has a combined experience of over 70 years in dealing with the best parts and repair finishes on the market. This means when you walk into Landers, you can breathe a little easier knowing that your vehicle will receive the best quality repair by the best certified technicians within a reasonable amount of time. Again and again, we work directly with most insurance companies and have loaners and rental vehicles on site for your convenience. We're proud to not only be the standard, but to keep raising the bar in collision repair. Come meet the staff, take a tour of our facilities, and get to know the Landers crew that Landers Collision has so proudly acquired. Big or small, Landers fixes them all. Give us a call, 1-888-LANDERS. That's 1-888-LANDERS.
So a horrible time to be finishing up a slice of pizza here in studio. WMIX, WMIXSports.com. So we're back from break here on the Saturday Sports Show. Don't forget our WMIX Sports social media question of the week. You can hit us up on Facebook.com/WMIX Sports. I already forgot the exact verbiage of it. So on the fly, basically, it's tough to get up sometimes. What time do you set your alarm for? We'll give you our answers here in just a little bit. Before we get that, just some shout-outs today. As far as things going on, of course, around the world of high school sports. And we wish the best, of course, to Aaliyah Palmer and Charlie Galladay, of course, a freshman, who will advance to state. Aaliyah, of course, in the shot put in discus, and then Galladay, of course, in the 400 meters. So they'll advance to state after improving at the triad sectional, probably the toughest 2A sectional in the entire state of Illinois, with East St. Louis, Cahokia, Triad, Carbondale. I feel for the Benton Rangerettes, who had to go up there after winning some state titles with Andy Sloan. Of course, we ranted about that with him. I wasn't here for it. I assume we ranted about that. I know Andy.
Oh, we did, absolutely. And it's not getting any better. And, boy, when you see the scores here, the last few days, that again, you just shake your head. And we talked to Rod Schertz about it a little bit last week as well. And I don't know, as coaches, it's sort of hard sometimes to communicate that to your kids, because kids are smart nowadays. They don't with all the social media outlets, they can check things, they can check times, and they know what the situation is. And it's just been put a burden on some of the the smaller end schools of those groups when you have to compete with the Cahokias with their tradition in track and field, and East St. Louis thrown in the mix. It's not easy right now.
Tell you, it's not good to be. It's Mount Vernon Renin Rams as well, as in this conference. You have the two-time defending state champion Cahokia Comanches winning your conference year in and year out, and the Rams finished second in the South 7 Conference meet yesterday, and Cahokia dominated 191 their point total. 145 for the Rams. Carbondale was the next back at 81. Of course, Marion had 69, Centralia 62, and Althoff came up short in the South 7 Conference meet. But some highlights, and of course we appreciate Clint Turner for sending this in. And I mean, he is so great, and Connie is as well, about emailing stuff into us and really taking care of us. But David Moddard had an impressive conference meet. Carson Hahn, as always. You take a look up and down the list. We'll try to get that posted for you on Facebook, or at least share the Mount Vernon Rams track and field and cross country Facebook status. But congratulations to the Ram runners up in the South 7 Conference meet yesterday. And of course, it's Cahokia. I mean, if you beat Cahokia, that is something worth popping champagne. Well, no, you can't at that level, but I mean, that, just to give you kind of an indication, if you can beat Cahokia and win this conference, you've done something great. But really, a runner-up to me is a conference champion when you're dealing with the Cahokia Comanches and just that athleticism and speed they have.
It's a depth. I mean, it's not just one person in an event. They load the field, and I mean that's the difference. And that's a little bit what Rod Schertz was talking about when they go to a meet. They take X number of kids, and you see Cahokia or East Side or some of the larger schools like that are capable of doing multiple kids in every event. And that makes a big difference, and the opportunities of the training against quality people like that also makes a big difference. So you're always being pushed when you have numbers, and numbers are always key when you look at the larger schools and some of them that fall in different areas. So, hats off for them second place against Cahokia. That's they scored a lot of points. Of everybody else in the South 7.
Of course, we can't forget Rams tennis today. Good luck to them as they are headed to the South 7 Conference meet at Centralia. That gets underway in about 16 minutes and 20 seconds as we'll get started at 10 o'clock. That's what we have left in the program. We need to take another break. Of course, good luck to Rams tennis today at the South 7 Conference meet at Centralia. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll give you our answers to the WMIX Sports social media question of the week. Could be interesting. Might even let Avery Barton talk. We'll see how that works out for you here on the Saturday Sports Show. It's presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend that time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital with our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge. The entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician, physician assistant, or nurse practitioner within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com/faster to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
More Americans are on a move today than ever before. One of the most popular modes of transportation is the motorcycle. Motorcycles take us to our jobs, school, to the beach, and all around the country. If you're a bike rider, your Pekin Insurance Agency, Page Insurance on Crown View in Mount Vernon, wants to make sure you have the best insurance protection while you're riding. Ask about the money-saving auto cycle discount and the experienced driver discount, too. Call Page Insurance at 242-7000 today about motorcycle insurance from Pekin Insurance.
I'm Kevin Snyder with a look at your next rad weather. Clouds and sun for today with a thunder shower in a few spots during the afternoon. High of 66. Then tonight, partly cloudy and cool with a low 37. For Mother's Day, tomorrow mostly sunny and cool with a high of 61 and a low tomorrow night of 35. Partly sunny and pleasant for Monday, high of 69. Next rad weather from WMIX, Mount Vernon, Illinois.
Oh, Nickelback back when Nickelback was good, at least in my humble opinion, from their 2000 album, The State. Not that that matters. This is the Saturday Sports Show, brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
Let's face it, Nickelback was good at a time. I know there's some people that love Nickelback, some people don't, but they were good at one time. Leader of Men, Breathe on that State album were pretty good back in 2000. But anyhow, getting back to sports, we have a social media. Hey, that's a social topic. So that works. We go into our social media question of the week here on the Saturday Sports Show. Post it, please, on... what's that medium? Facebook. Facebook.com/WMIX Sports. You can tweet us if you'd like at WMIX Sports as well. But hard to get up sometimes. What time do you set your alarm for? Michael, I'm pretty sure you probably don't set one. Maybe you do. I shouldn't
do
judge.
On Saturday mornings.
That's it, right?
That's it. Because in the line of work that I'm in, I'm able to set my own appointments. And over the years, you've matured and got smarter to know that you don't have to have those 8:30, 9 o'clock appointments, when you travel. So... nobody wants to get up too early if they don't have to, but I have to set it at about 7 o'clock on Saturday morning to be here at the big show by about 8. And I basically wake up, stumble into the shower, turn it on, and just let it wake me up itself more or less for about 10 or 15 minutes before progressing on. I'm not an early riser, never have been. And I could change if I wanted to, but I have late night habits over the years.
Sure.
And that's just part of it.
Well, I'm here to tell you I'm not ready for my answer yet, Avery. Open her up. You obviously have school, or did.
Yeah, I usually get up around 7, and
You work now.
Yeah, still get up about 7.
And you still don't get here till 8:30. How's that work? I'm just giving you a hard time.
It was like 8:10.
I wouldn't even let you talk if I didn't like you.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm kidding.
When I do need an alarm, I tend to set like 10. But I usually humor myself by naming them things that will make me laugh in the morning. But I'm not a morning person, not at all.
No, you're a kid. You shouldn't be. You should enjoy that as much as you can. But with me, for the sake of my job security, I'd rather not say weekdays.
Mm-hmm.
But I get up at 6 on Saturdays, and that kills me. That really kills me. But I will not tell you the weekday time. I do have to set an alarm for weekdays or I won't get up because I stay up too late. But, you're looking at an average night for me. I may be up till 2 or 3.
Absolutely.
7 o'clock's not fun. 8. Whatever time.
No, I mean, with
6.
With the internet and social media and everything that we do, and then part of not our real jobs, but then sports is such a big part of our lives. I mean, the other night, for instance, I just couldn't sleep and had to do some stuff for our summer basketball program. Was doing a little bit of stuff and then just kept continually checking some fantasy sports online. And next thing I know, I look up, it's 4:30 in the morning. So I thought, well, maybe it's time to go to bed for a little while, So then things happen. But I'm like you. Normally, I'm 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning going to bed person. But
See?
If I had to, job related, to get up at, to be somewhere that early, then obviously I would have to change my patterns and go to bed at 11 or midnight or something like that. So it's all relevant.
My issue is I'm on Twitter late, and my Twitter syncs with my Facebook. So anything I tweet ends up on my Facebook page. So my Twitter followers totally get it. Like, they understand. But my Facebook friends kind of freak out a little bit because not everybody I have on Facebook follows me on Twitter. So it's like they're kind of like, Hugo, are you okay? Well, yeah, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, that's here nor there. WMIX Sports Social Media Question of the Week. Please give us an answer on Facebook, facebook.com/WMIX Sports. We need to take another break, one more break here in the program. We'll come back. We'll talk something. It'll probably be sports, maybe not. We hope it will be, though. The Saturday Sports Show is powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend that time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital with our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge. The entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician, physician assistant, or nurse practitioner within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com/faster to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
The Motor City reclaims its name with the 2013 Chrysler 200. Hi, Roy Schmidt Chrysler dealer at King City Chrysler Center, Mount Vernon. The Chrysler 200 has a great classy design. The lines and curves create a precise chisel profile. LED tail lamps eliminate attention to detail, and each Chrysler 200 wheel choice adds a different finishing touch to the vehicle's overall design. Right now, we are offering our own finishing touch with great incentives. Choose $3,000 in customer cash or choose 0% financing for 72 months. Wow! We have over 30 Chrysler 200s in stock, all having been awarded the IIHS Top Safety Pick. Browse our entire inventory at KingCityChrysler.com or come see one of our associates at King City Chrysler Center, 1603 Broadway in Mount Vernon, and don't forget to find us on Facebook.
And welcome back to the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXSports.com. Glad to have you with us. Chris Hugo with Mike Richardson in studio. Avery Barton pushing the buttons today, of course, brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Of course, plenty of sports talk to head your way, of course. What a day we've had for you here on the Saturday Sports Show. A good lineup, of course. St. Louis Cardinals baseball will hit the airwaves. It's a 1:15 first pitch, which means your pregame time on WMIX FM 94.1. Should be about 12:40, which means the network will take over at about 12:39. So we hope you'll tune into the Cards and the Rocks. Cards got a big win last night. Shelby Miller showing us what he was capable of.
Yeah,
not a bad day.
I just seen it fantasy wise. I obviously wasn't watching, but he's when he has his control going, he's pretty tough. He keeps it low in the strike zone and got a little zip on his fastball, a little bit of movement, and he really looks. He's got good form. Looks like he could have a nice career ahead of him.
Well, and I think people were kind of antsy last year. They saw him at Memphis and saw the numbers weren't that impressive. And you already had articles. I know your Bleacher Reports, I think that's the name of it. Some of your media like that, your web-based media, were talking about how he could be used as a trade piece in certain trades. And, I saw one article dredged back up yesterday and taking a look at, suggesting maybe trade him not only within the division, but using him for like a Wandy Rodriguez or a Zach Greinke or even a Ryan Dempster, a Matt Garza, players like that. It's like, really? Nobody's going to mortgage what they perceive to be their future. And, you take a look at what the Cardinals have been able to do this season, and, Wainwright's kind of been up and down at times, 4-2. He'll get to start today, 2.72 ERA, so not bad. But, you look at Shelby Miller, and there's got to be high hopes there because, him along with Martinez, most of the bullpen is young. You look at, they got in the Angels pick for Pujols last year, Michael Wacha? Is that how you say it? I don't remember how you actually pronounce the last name, but there's a huge future there. Tavares, of course, center fielder of the future for the Cardinals. And so really, things on the farm are pretty good, and that was proven last night.
Well, I think another thing that's changed with their farm system a little bit is in the pitching department, going out and taking some chances on some hard throwers for the bullpen.
Sure. Look at Rosenthal or Kelly.
Baseball has totally changed, and you're not the 9-inning shutout pitchers anymore. They are few and far between in baseball. Baseball is just so specialized. You look at the quality starts now as a category, and these guys are looking starters to get 6 innings. If you can get 6 innings out of a starting pitcher, you've got a 7th inning guy now that you can mix and match righty-lefty. Then you'll have an 8th inning setup guy, and then you go to your closer. So pitching has really changed, and I think a lot of these teams have started to look at, the flamethrowers that can come in and just hopefully throw 9 pitches. That's what they're looking at, and touch that gun at 95 plus, tip it at 100. Aroldis Chapman being one of those guys as well from Cincinnati. The Yankees have 2 or 3 guys now that it's just unbelievable the change they've made in their bullpen, which is already one of the tops in baseball. But that's what they're looking at to do, and I think the Cardinals are trying to follow suit as well.
Well, and they are, and you take a look at the standings, and the Cardinals, of course, at the tops of the Central. And it's going to be probably a close Central this year. Pittsburgh can keep their act together. Of course, they're now a half game back of the Reds for second place. But you look at your Yankees. Not bad. Look at Lyle Overbay. We talked about that before, the stigma of the putting on the pinstripe.
Well, I think it's always humorous that you hear about some of the prognosticators and stuff like that. A lot of people said the Yankees wouldn't win 40 games this year, and all the detractors, which that's part of it. I've been around it too long to know when I wear my hat, when veterans put on a Yankee uniform, there is some little something about pride and tradition and legacy that goes along with that. And I knew that I watched the Yankees year round, and the youth that they had in the farm system, playing without Brett Gardner last year. People don't even remember that, what he's done. Lyle Overbay, as you said, had something left in the tank. Now, the Yankees, they could fall flat on their face. I don't think that would happen, but right now, leading the Eastern Division, toughest division in baseball, you got to feel pretty happy about the way things has gone. And Curtis Granderson, he's on the verge of coming back. Mark Teixeira got out of the swimming pool with his swings, and now he's hitting off the tee. So these guys are going to be coming back a little bit. Jabba Chamberlain will be coming back maybe as early as next week. So you start fitting in some of those positions, and now you got the best out of some of the guys that's picked up the slack, and now that'll just add to your bench. So things really look good for the Yankees right now.
Well, and that's a good thing. And, of course, you take a look at some of the other sports, and it's hard to believe. National Hockey League, of course, getting ready to wind down. We're headed to semifinals in some parts. Blues lost last night. Of course, their season's done. L.A. moves on.
it's just so tough, and I don't want to be down on the Blues or anything. I love them. I mean, I'm a big hockey guy, and it's been painful. Last year was painful, and I really thought I had it on my sleeve this year because I thought with the shortened season, as good as their defense was going to be, I thought, boy, before you can play the defense before the offense catches up with you in that short, in a 40-game season. But boy, until the Blues dedicate themselves into spending money on a true scorer, it's not going to happen, folks.
Well, and Stewart, your leading scorer, has 18 goals in the regular season. That's pretty what we need to know.
Yeah, And again, I love watching them, but they're going to have to bite the bullet. That's just all there is to it. They are going to have to commit. They rotated their lines a good, and they were good and balanced. But in the playoffs, it's a different animal. And jokingly, if the goal was an inch taller or an inch wider, the Blues win this series 4-0. But it's not, and they're home now. The beards didn't grow too long, for them. And it's just one of those things that I've talked to all my friends about it, and it's got to be the offensive end. You're going to have to commit to a score. They've got some youngsters, but we're talking 15 and 16-year-olds, and they still have commitments in Russia and Czechoslovakia and some of those places that, they're having trouble getting the rights to them to, come to the NHL. So it's going to be a while, but you've got to spend the money for a score, and hopefully maybe that'll happen here.
I think we'll find out, and hopefully that it does for the Blues, but obviously, it's almost the 10 o'clock hour. We thank you for taking the time, as always, to tune in to the Saturday Sports Show. And, of course, the NHL playoffs headed well into the conference semis now. They reseed. Well, they don't reseed, but they redraw the bracket, of course, typically after the quarterfinals. So if Detroit should happen to beat Anaheim then in Game 7, then Chicago would get them. Basically, you're looking at a case here where it's possible 5, 6, 7, and 1 will be who advances in the Western Conference. So no need to analyze that. You can find out more, of course. I like to use Yahoo.com sports for my national stuff. Taking a look now, of course, NBC Sports as well is great. But, of course, Mount Vernon Rams baseball takes the airwaves on Monday, 4:15 pregame from Belleville West. Lady Rams back on the air on Tuesday versus Effingham. This is WMIX Mount Vernon, a free service from Withers Broadcasting, NBC News. Now.